Hi, my name is Bob, and welcome to the homestead, y'all. We have a Kioti tractor, and yesterday I was bush hogging, and the tractor just shut down, went down into idle mode or limp mode, and a little red light came on the dash, and so I shut it off real quick, came up, grabbed the manual, found out that that light meant that there was water in the fuel system. So of course it's the weekend, I can't call the Kioti dealership, so I did a little research online, and apparently the Kioti tractors, the CK series, DK series, they have a sensor in the bottom of the fuel filter with a water separator inside the fuel filter, and if it detects moisture, then it'll shut your tractor down and it'll come on and give you a warning light. So today what we're going to do is we're going to pull that sensor, we're going to drain the fuel out of that and water out of that fuel filter, and then put the sensor back on, pump and prime the fuel system, and hopefully we'll be back to bush hogging by the end of the day. I've never done this before, so this will be a first for me. We've had our tractor for about 2 years now, and this is the first time that's ever happened. So hopefully this will fix it and I'll be able to get back to bush hogging. Okay, this is the fuel filter. This is the sensor I said to take off. But before we do, I have to unplug this. There's a tab right there. All right. There, we unplugged the sensor. Now, from best I can tell, we just unscrew this and get something to catch the fuel and the water. Once we unscrew it, should be able to drain that, and then up top here's a pump and a bleeder screw, so we should be able to prime the fuel system. So let me get some gloves and a container, and we'll go ahead and pull that. Okay, have me a funnel with a hose on it. There's a container sitting on the ground here, so I can try to catch this diesel. Not sure how well this is going to work out, but I'm going to try this. I don't know how fast I have to remove that and before the diesel starts coming out. I would think immediately. Oh yeah. Okay, it's draining into my container here. I'm just barely catching it though, just because of this wire that's in the way. I think I'm just going to let that sit and drain a minute. Around that, and kind of difficult to keep your wire from getting diesel all over it. I don't know if it wouldn't have been better just to spin it and let a little bit of diesel fall down. I can show you here. You can see the diesel dripping out and coming down into my container. So that is what's happening. And if you can see, this is the wire and the end of it. Oh, I just pushed it in there. That wire spins as you're turning that. I've probably been better off just to let some of the diesel go and just spin that real quick and pulled that sensor right there off. but I'm just going to let it drain for now. It's just starting to drip some now. Oh, oh. Oh, there we go. A lot of fuel to pump back in there by hand. Maybe I can take the fuel filter off and fill it full of diesel and put it back on there. I'm going to take a rag and clean this sensor a little bit. Okay. A few more drops coming out, but not many. Here's the sensor. It's a little bit dirty around this edge. I'm going to take a rag and clean that off. Taking a rag to clean the sensor off here and inside that ring. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back on. Once I get it on, then I'm going to clean it with a rag and dry it off so that way I can tell if it's leaking any whenever we fire it back up. Alright, I'm just going to hand tighten that. I'm not going to torque it. Bring it back around here. And then we'll plug him back in. Okay. I heard it snap. That's exactly the way it was. Okay. Now we're going to start pumping. I have a feeling it's going to take a while to fill this back up with fuel. Originally I thought, well, I'll just take this off and fill it up with fuel, but then I could get a leak up here. So I think I'll just do one thing at a time, even if it takes me a while to put fuel in that. It's not time to service it and change the fuel filter yet. I wish it was in one way, so that way I could just change the fuel filter and could have got rid of the water, and then I could fill the fuel filter back up with diesel. But if you want, you could probably pull this off and fill it up with diesel, and you wouldn't have to pump this pump so many times. So let me show you where the pump is. It's right on the top of the fuel filter. It's right there. Little hand pump. I can't get the camera set just exactly right, but basically you just push down on that and you just keep pumping. And there's a bleeder screw right back here on the back. I'm guessing it'll take a little while to fill this filter up. Probably should have just pulled it off and filled it full of diesel and put it back on. But we'll see. Pump the pump right here. I know 200 or 300 times. On the forums I read that fuel should come out of the bleeder screw, which the bleeder screw is right back here. I showed you that a little while ago. I still haven't got fuel coming out of the bleeder screw. So I think what I'm going to do is try to start it up, and maybe the fuel pump will fill that thing up quicker than me hand pumping it. I did tighten the bleeder screw up on it. Yeah, it's good and tight. I checked the sensor here. I've got it good and tight. So let's see if it'll fire up, and if it does, let's see if we have any leaks. Alright, that's pretty sweet. It fired right up. Don't see any leaks right offhand. Here's the camera. There's the fuel filter. Sensor right underneath it. sensor right there. Like I said, I don't see any leaks yet on it. I dried it off with a rag. So I think what I'll do is let it run for a little bit, get up to temperature, shut it off, and then take my hand and just rub up under there, see if I feel any fuel, and the same with up on the bleed screw on top. Since those are the only two things that I loosen, hopefully that's the only two places I can have a leak. So I'm going to let it sit here a little bit, warm up, and then we'll come back and check it out. Okay. Like I said, I dried this off with a rag. And there's no diesel whatsoever. So no leaks. Thank goodness. Like I said, I ran it up 2,300 RPMs. Operating on this tractor is 2,500 RPMs at 540 RPMs on your PTO. So I don't see anything. I believe we're good. All right, fired right up. No leaks. If you know a better way of doing this, please put it in the comments below. I think if I just went ahead and pulled the fuel filter off and filled it full of diesel, put the sensor back, or put it back on, put the sensor back on, I think I would have been better off. I did push that pump, I know 200 or 300 times. My forearm was getting sore, my thumbs were getting sore. So if you know of a better way of doing this, please leave it in the comments below, so that way if it happens to me again, I'll know a better way of doing it, or the people that are watching this video, they can read in the comments and you can tell us an easier way to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and shut the hood and get back to bush hogging. I did want to talk about a couple safety concerns though. I do have a front end loader on this. Normally, if I pop the hood and I'm working on something, I'll lift the front end loader all the way up and then put a piece of angle iron in here on both sides. I have two pieces sitting over here in the corner that I keep just for that. So that way this loader doesn't come down on me while I'm working on the tractor. I didn't have to lift the front end loader for this particular project. I was able to reach everything fine, so I left the front end loader on the ground. Some of the maintenance when you're working on these things, you have to have the front end loader all the way up. So you definitely want to make sure that you put something in there to keep the front end loader from coming down, because if it comes down, it's going to kill you. Because these things are heavy, and especially if you're like me, you're working on them alone usually, so you don't want to get trapped or pinned by the front end loader. But other than that, I had the key out the whole time, and I did disconnect the battery. I disconnected the positive side on the battery, so that way there wasn't any way that I could short circuit something and the engine fire up. I meant to mention that in the beginning of the video. I didn't record that. That's just something I do on vehicles and lawnmowers, tractors, anything I'm working on that I can disconnect the battery. That way I know it's not going to start up while I have my hands in there and possibly lose one of my fingers. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching.